quality steaks can be a pricey proposition, so it's best to do your homework before dropping some major coin. This is our ranking of chain restaurant steaks, from those unworthy of making the cut to the absolute height of bovinity. Where does your favorite rank? Outback may boast the most locations of any steakhouse in the United States, but more often than not, quantity isn't an indicator of quality. That sadly holds true here. Sure, a meal at Outback Steakhouse is easier on the wallet than dining at glitzier competitors, but the cuts are generally subpar. The wiser investment is to pay a premium elsewhere or even go the DIY route and grill your own. If you do happen to find yourself at Outback, beyond an order of the obligatory blooming onion, the slightly above middling bone-in ribeye is going to be your best bet. It weighs in at an impressive 18 ounces and comes with 2 sides, so you'll definitely be leaving full of food, and likely some regret. If you were to rank the 250-plus items on the Cheesecake Factory menu, the steak selection would fall toward the bottom of that list. But if you're desperate to scratch a beefy itch, stick with what the exceedingly popular chain does best and get saucy. The Steak Diane fits the bill with ho-hum medallions of beef swimming in a pool of mushroom and wine sauce laced with black peppercorns. Don't forget to reserve some of that sauce to ladle onto the accompanying scoop of mashed potatoes. The old-school classic is likely named after the Roman goddess of the hunt and is traditionally served tableside, though you won't be getting that kind of service here. While the dish has been prepared by everyone from Gordon Ramsay to Guy Fieri, this rendition is not exactly fine dining.
Oh, I didn't tell you? You're banished from the Cheesecake Factory.
Chili's originated in the Lone Star State, so it's only appropriate that they offer the full fajita spectrum from carnitas to shrimp. But steak is the way to go when choosing this Tex-Mex preparation style, which dates back to the 1930s. Back then, the campfire-kissed beef quickly became a favorite among Mexican vaqueros, and it's no surprise that the dish would eventually spread to the masses. Presented on an extra-hot serving plate, the grilled strips of steak and vegetables are served traditionally with Mexican rice, black beans, and tortillas. On the side, you get sour cream, pico de gallo, salsa, and shredded cheese for plenty of make-your-own taco options. It's the best steak on offer at Chili's, which isn't saying much. The spread is satisfying but doesn't quite rise to the cast iron sizzle. If you're here and in the mood for beef, place your bets on a burger. When it comes to the cult of Cracker Barrel, singling out the must-order menu pick is a contentious subject. We like to sing the praises of the country fried steak, which is the best of Southern comfort. USDA choice beef is tenderized and flattened, deep-fried, then smothered with creamy sawmill gravy. Filling, right? Well, wait, there's more. You'll also be getting 2 to 3 sides because it wouldn't be a visit to Cracker Barrel without some macaroni and cheese. And don't forget about the cherry on top. Your choice of a scratch-made buttermilk biscuit or corn muffin. If you happen to have a hankering for a heavy-duty breakfast, you're in luck. The country fried steak is an all-day affair, but whenever you choose to chow down, remember that you're tinkering with a carb and sodium bomb. With this in mind, have your server on standby armed with a water pitcher and brace yourself for a lengthy post-meal nap. Is it delicious? Yes. Does it satisfy your hankering for a juicy steak? Not really, which is why you'll find it so low on our list. The marriage of seafood and cheese is the culinary equivalent of Maria and Tony's doomed romance in West Side Story. Add an entire steak to the equation, and you've got a recipe for disaster. And yet, Applebee somehow just barely pulls a seemingly incongruous trio off with one of the chain's most popular offerings, the shrimp and Parmesan sirloin. Let's start with the steak, which is a grilled half-pounder of top sirloin. As for the quality, the beef is graded USDA Select, which is a step below choice. In other words, when it comes to marbling and juiciness, the verdict is meh. Luckily, the nicely charred exterior swoops in to save the day. Next, the parm, which is folded into a warm lemon butter sauce. Unlike a dad joke, the cheesiness is more than welcome. Finally, a 6-pack of blackened shrimp tops things off with a hint of peppery spice. And let's not forget the side pieces. Garlic mashed potatoes plus some steamed broccoli to temper all that guilt. Is it the surf and turf of your dreams? Not quite, but for the price, it does the trick. Since steak is so costly, it rarely shows up in the world of fast food. So when it does, of course, we simply must rank it. Chipotle not only offers steak, but actually makes it taste pretty darn good, at least as far as fast food steak goes. According to the Mexican chain, the responsibly raised beef is sous vide, marinated overnight in Chipotle adobo, and then finished on the grill. Though the results can be a bit chewy, the flavor is there, and for less than $10, it's quite a value. Order it in a burrito with white rice, black beans, cheese, and roasted chili corn salsa for a satisfying on-the-go meal. Fun fact, according to NBC, it's legal to eat roadkill in many states, but Texas is not one of them. With that said, you can rest assured knowing that the roadkill served at the Rootin' Tootin' Down-Home Eatery Texas Roadhouse is free of big rig tenderized armadillo. Beef is the meat of choice here. It's served up as a chopped steak, which is essentially a bunless hamburger. The juicy, mega-sized disc of fresh ground chuck is topped with melted jack cheese, along with a sautéed duo of mushrooms and onions. The complete package is, at least visually, a hot mess. So yeah, it definitely lives up to its billing. But looks can be deceiving, and the meaty monstrosity has plenty of fans, including Kim from Insanely Good Eats, who says, "It may not have the best sounding name, but Texas Roadhouse Roadkill is sure to blow your taste buds away. Still, the presentation leaves much to be desired if what you're looking for is an actual piece of steak. Bet you weren't expecting to find pizza on this list, but those culinary wizards at California Pizza Kitchen have a way with unconventional toppings, and that even includes steak. Now there is indeed a fire-grilled ribeye to be found on the main plates portion of the California Pizza Kitchen menu. Pass. This is the California Pizza Kitchen, not the California Steak Kitchen. If it's cow you crave, stick with the namesake specialty, specifically the south-of-the-border-inspired carne asada pizza. While the barbecue chicken pizza may be the chain's claim to fame, the synergy of thin slices of marinated steak, fire-roasted poblanos, cilantro pesto, and the perfect pairing of mozzarella and Monterey Jack is like a fiesta in your mouth. The complete package is such a success that Delish deemed it their top California Pizza Kitchen pie, gushing, "The flavor combo is so perfect and unique, you'll want to order it every time." It doesn't beat a steak dinner, of course, but if you're out with a bunch of pizza lovers and end up at California Pizza Kitchen, take our advice and order the carne asada pizza. Full disclosure, if we're judging strictly on the steak at this Japanese teppanyaki institution, the hibachi grilled New York strip would end up a few notches lower on our list. While the sear hits the mark, the meat lacks a pronounced beefy bite to truly shine on its own. For this reason, we recommend the teriyaki edition, especially since the addictive sweet and savory sauce is prepared in-house. But there are other factors connected to the Benihana experience that come into play and help this middle-of-the-road steak gain a few extra points. There is, famously, the parade of sides, which also benefit from soaking in that hibachi heat. Veggies? Yum. Fried rice? So good. Shrimp? Yes, please. And you absolutely can't discount those dazzling tableside theatrics. The onion volcano, crazy knife tricks, the shrimp tail and the pocket toss. So yeah, we have no qualms about this ranking considering you're not only enjoying a delicious dinner, but you're also getting a show.
Gail has got you covered.
With over 60 locations from Troy to Tokyo, Morton's is one of the most recognizable names in the steakhouse world. Unfortunately, consistency at the Landry Zone chain isn't a strong suit, which is especially troubling when you're dropping a fistful of Benjamins on a meal. Let's start with the sides, which, per high-end steakhouse protocol, cost extra but are worth the price of admission. The loaded baked potato lives up to its billing, packed with bacon, cheese, sour cream, and chives. And then there's the Troy, sautéed onions and button mushrooms finished in a heavy au jus. Troy, whoever you are, we thank you. The main event, however, is hit or miss, which shouldn't be the case with a steakhouse of such high pedigree. While we've sampled one too many overcooked steaks to offer a full-throated recommendation, when Morton's game is on, it's on. That's especially true with their New York strip. The aged USDA prime beef is always top shelf. They've been using the same supplier since Morton's opened its doors in Chicago over 4 decades ago. And if your 16-ounce slab of Big Apple excellence arrives with that crust on point and the center ruby red, you'll experience the pinnacle of steak nirvana. Smith & Wollensky bills itself as, quote, America's Steakhouse, so the fact that one of its top-tier offerings features a Louisiana flourish shouldn't come as a complete surprise. It all starts with a gargantuan 28-ounce bone-in ribeye, which just so happens to be our absolute favorite cut. The exquisitely marbled, gloriously flavored USDA prime dry-aged steak is a knockout by itself, but a spicy Cajun marinade is like a Mike Tyson at his peak punch to your face hole. The heat is noticeable, though you can rest assured it doesn't overwhelm the meat. The good folks at Smith & Wollensky were kind enough to reveal the secret behind their magical marinade for the home cook, but we highly recommend chowing down within the chain's clubby confines. Soaking in the distinctive green and white found at the New York City flagship is truly a sight to behold. With a couple of menu hacks, you'll be eating like royalty at this upscale yet totally laid-back steakhouse that somehow resides under the same corporate umbrella as Outback. Rest assured, the steaks at Fleming's don't underwhelm like those found at the sister chain. The item we're highlighting is the petite filet mignon. Now, if you're wondering why the petite is our size of choice, we have our reasons. Set your sights on the selection of, quote, over-the-top add-ons, and pull the trigger on the jumbo lump crab meat, which is laced with a rich, eggy béarnaise sauce. The decadent steak topper will more than make up for the size downgrade. Add a size of roasted asparagus, and congratulations, you've got yourself a retro showstopper, a steak Oscar. In the hierarchy of surf and turf pairings, this delicious dish just might take the crown. The carnival of carne that is Fogo de Chão offers a mouthwatering taste of traditional Brazilian churrasco. Prepare for whiplash as servers roam the floor armed with giant skewers of fire-grilled all-you-can-eat meats. For steaks, there are options aplenty, including filet mignon, beef ancho, and fraldinha, a flavorful and well-marbled cut from the bottom sirloin. For bacon lovers, there's a steak wrapped in hardwood-smoked, honey-cured porcine pleasure that warrants ample real estate on your sure-to-be-crowded plate. But the spotlight shines brightest on the picanha, Brazil's most celebrated cut, which somehow remains a relative rarity stateside. Butchered from top sirloin, the beef benefits from an extra thick fat cap, which melts like butter into the meat. To enjoy the best of both worlds, request a juicy interior medium rare slice, but also sample some of that crusty, sublimely seasoned edge. If you're talking about bang for the buck, there's no beating the steak selection at LongHorn. value and high quality are a rare combination for steakhouses, but this casual chain founded in Atlanta presents the full package, especially with its stunning Delmonico. And speaking of rare, don't be afraid to opt for that quote cool red center. Yeah, the steak is that good. We're talking 14 ounces of expertly seasoned and grilled USDA prime ribeye. It may be the most expensive option on the menu, but at a cost of nearly half the price of a higher-end steakhouse, it's well worth it. Plus, it comes with a side and salad. But perhaps most importantly, you don't need to get dressed up for the occasion. The general rule of thumb for steaks is keep it simple, but in the right hands, some embellishments are welcome. You can assuredly find that expert touch in the kitchen of the Capital Grille, where the chefs know their way around a rub. While you can't go wrong with the bone-in Kona-crusted dry-aged New York strip, the porcini rub bone-in ribeye with 15-year aged balsamic is truly exquisite. Porcini and balsamic may not be the first or even the 50th ingredients that come to mind when you think of steak, but why that isn't the case is anyone's guess. The earthiness of the mushrooms enhances the complexity of the beef, while the super vintage vinegar wows with subtle umami notes. Summing up the brilliant flavor fusion, Peter and Kate Michael from Hinsdale Living explain, it's like eating a steak that's been infused with steak sauce. Strap on your spurs and blast some Waylon Jennings in honor of the 22-ounce cowboy ribeye, courtesy of the oddly apostrophed Ruth's Chris. The venerable steakhouse chain opts to wet age its corn-fed Midwestern beef, vacuum sealing the steaks for a tenderizing 24 to 28 days. A visit to the 1800-degree Fahrenheit broiler yields that patented Ruth's Chris crust. Adding to the wow factor, the steak is served on a sizzle plate with a tab of butter and a green pop of parsley, cause this is a classy joint. Quite frankly, we'd be happy with any steak here, but the cowboy ribeye manages to fire on all cylinders. It's no wonder the faithful keep coming back again and again. And for the first-timers, just like the bit of extra bone on the ribeye, your expectations are bound to be exceeded. Listen up, filet fans. We know you prefer your steaks extra tender and easy on the fat. Well, this fancy French cut doesn't get much better than the perfect specimen of tenderness on display at our favorite steakhouse chain. It's all in the sourcing, and for the palm, that means cattle raised on a strict corn diet. Just like all the steaks served at this near-century-old gem, the center-cut filet mignon is aged at least 35 days, allowing the flavor and texture to be optimized. Notice how your knife cuts into the steak with little effort. Marvel at the glorious interior, then savor that juicy goodness. Go ahead and complete that steak with a bold red or stiff martini, shrimp cocktail starter, and a side of garlic mashed potatoes for the ultimate steakhouse spread. This is an outing you definitely want to keep in mind for Valentine's Day, an anniversary, or a date night where you really want to impress. Choosing Kobe beef at a steakhouse can be tricky, but at Cut, you can order the Japanese Wagyu New York with confidence. Here's the deal. More often than not, restaurants that claim to be serving Kobe, the ultra-exclusive Japanese beef that is prized for its jaw-dropping marbling, aren't actually serving authentic Kobe. They're likely offering a different type of Wagyu, or just blatantly lying and serving some random inferior steak. But at Cut, you can rest assured knowing you're getting the real deal. The Swinky Steakhouse owned by celebrity chef Wolfgang Puck offers, quote, 100% true Tajima Kobe. According to Michelin, it melts in your mouth like smooth caramel. Make no mistake, indulging in such rarefied beef is going to cost you an arm and a leg. So reserve the unforgettable experience for an extra special occasion.
What really won me over was your brilliant waiter. It's as if all he knows is fine dining and breathing.
Dry aging is a process that helps develop flavor and increase tenderness. Here's a quick primer. As the steak bides its time in a special temperature-controlled and bacteria-free refrigerator, collagen, basically the glue that holds the fibers of the meat together, starts to break down, yielding more tender results. Meanwhile, water is removed from the tissue, which helps to concentrate the beefiness of the flavor. After a month, that transformation really starts to take shape, and the steak is no doubt ready for the prime time. But keep the aging going another 2 weeks, and you've got a steak that really soars. Case in point, Del Frisco's Double Eagle 45 dry-aged prime ribeye, steak's version of Dorian Gray. The extra aging does wonders for the beef, bringing out a fabulous funk that will turn your taste buds loose. If you're on the hunt for a steak that checks all the boxes, look no further than Mastro's craveable and Instagrammable SRF Wagyu Tomahawk Chop. Sure, the tomahawk trend is getting a bit tired, but trust us, you definitely don't want to sleep on this one. The SRF refers to Idaho's celebrated Snake River Farms, which specializes in exceptionally marbled Wagyu beef. The 2-inch thick steaks are hand-cut and dry-aged to perfection. Then the maestros at Mastro's take care of the rest, ensuring an exquisite sear and perfect temperature on the cook. It comes in 2 sizes, extra large and extra extra large, weighing in at 32 and 40 ounces respectively. Either way, it's a team effort. You'll attract plenty of eyeballs as the behemoth is paraded to your table. It's truly a feast for the eyes, but that meat is far better in your belly. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more MASH videos about your favorite restaurant chains are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.